All right. See if this works. Oh, look at that. It was recording me and I didn't even know I was being recorded yet. Good evening, everyone, or afternoon or morning, wherever you are. My name is CJ Reynolds and I'm trying something new. That's an intro for you. My name is CJ Reynolds and I'm trying something new. What we're trying here is we are using Zoom to try to be on YouTube. And I did an experiment last night and it worked. So I think this is how we're going to do Sunday Night Teacher Talks. And I'll explain a little bit more of that in a second. Why is it lagging on YouTube? Okay, there it goes. So we'll see how this works. So I'm going to take a bit of a second here, and it's going to be, it might be an awkward transition. We're giving Edie a little bit of agita today, and my wife. So let's see how this works out. But why is it laggy? What's up with the intranet? Let me make sure that's on the best internet that we have. It is. So yeah, we're going to give this a shot, see if it works. So the beauty of this is to see if we can. So you're going to have two options tonight. And I'm going to keep saying this because it's a new way we're doing this, and I want to make sure everyone understands it. There is, how we're going to do this is, if you want to come on and ask a question face to face, talk a little bit, cool, we can do that. If you don't, if you're like, yo, my hair is a hot mess, I haven't bathed in multiple days because I'm virtually teaching, and so it's just not really necessary anymore. Or for whatever reason, if you just want to like type in your question because you're folding laundry or something, cool, you can go ahead and do that. But otherwise, this is how I'm thinking. We're going to give it a shot because I just think that it'll allow for some clarity on certain questions. I think it'll allow people to kind of flesh out what they're saying, and I'm looking forward to that too. And I'm interested to see what people look like. So yeah, you getting the laptop?
Yeah, I'm very late.
We're good. We're just gonna figure this out. Can I do? I'm in my classroom, but not really. Yes, Amy Russell. Can we do? So here's how Edie has this set up. Do you understand how she has this set up? Or
I'll understand it when you're explaining.
All right, cool. So we're all learning here at the same moment. There is, I believe this is how it's going to work. Edie, you can hit me up if I'm wrong. We are going to do, if you want to come in on the live, there is a really brief place to put that information, and it's going to be in a Google document that we're going to post, and it just asks like, what is your name? Whatever you want to be called is fine, Edie said. Then there is, if you want to offer any pronunciation tips on your name, this is the place to do it also, which is really important because words with too many vowels, it's the dyslexia that messes me up, and I can't say people's names all the time. And then what is your question? And then, okay, do you want us to read your question, or do you want to zoom it up? I like that she said, let's zoom it up. That's what Edie said. So let me put I think I could just do this. Let's see if this works. Someone try this for me, please. Does that work? Let's put the link in the chat. That work. I will not be looking at the chat. I have Edie and the not so secret wife doing that because I can't. Because
CJ can't multitask.
There is. I feel like I'm in school right now. All right. I feel like I'm in school, but I can't even see the foreheads. That's the problem. There it is. It's live. Look at me drinking out my teacher mug. Teaching is Communal activity.
Okay. So what am I?
It's all good. Even if this is a hot disaster. I think this is the new way. I'm so excited. I feel like I want to talk radio show.
Nobody knows how to do it.
I want to talk radio show.
Oh my goodness.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Real Rap with Reynolds. I'm your host, CJ Reynolds. We need smooth jams to play behind.
What's the Google Drive that she's in? That's what I got.
She has this, John.
That's it?
Or live stream questions.
Okay, go there.
And so I believe that's where it's going to show up. And then that's what the questionnaire looks like right here. This is us live on Zoom, and this is us live on YouTube, because it's two different things. Look how much better the picture quality is on Zoom than it is on YouTube.
Why?
I don't know. And look how much
No,
further
Zoom.
behind. It's like
No, I think
an even 30 seconds behind on YouTube.
I think Zoom looks terrible. I think YouTube looks better.
You think that looks better?
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Well, you know, sorry.
Hooray.
Try. All right. So I'm waiting for something to come in and then see what's going on here. And then we'll do that. So this is gonna be great.
I need to go here. What's this one?
To be honest, to be fair to the team here that's working with me, I tried this last night.
No, okay. Let me clarify. Let's be fair that CJ loves to come up with last minute ideas and he doesn't like to prepare. No. He just wings it and just goes and just does it. So Edie and I are like, he's giving us lots of anxiety because now we have no idea what's going on and we're trying to do this thing last minute, but that's what CJ does. So that's why.
There's no need for anxiety.
Okay.
I got you. Want me to just talk for a minute? Dude, this is the perfect chance. You want me to say restore pages?
No, I don't want to restore any.
Okay, then don't.
Okay. Thank you.
You good?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So we only have a couple days left until winter break. I have Monday and Tuesday. I know some people are on break already. I think Edie had off all last week.
Well, they had special circumstances.
Yeah. They're trying to figure out the COVID world right now. Yeah. So this is, put the link in the chat twice. I don't know why it's not working for you.
Who put it in there?
Edie just texted and said that she put the link in the chat twice and she's not sure why it's not working. Did it? Sorry, gang. We're going to figure this out. Did it work?
Oh, she put it in, yeah. You can't touch it. It's not a touchable link, right? So you have to just copy and paste it in your browser.
James Pete made it in. So I'm going to take James Pete on as a call.
Okay.
And we'll see how it works.
Well, he can tell us how he did it.
Yeah. Pete, can you hear me? Here they come.
Yeah, I got you, man.
What's up, man? How are you?
I'm doing good, man. I'm the first one on. I'll always be the first one on now. I don't have a mug yet, but I will. When I have a mug, it'll be right here.
Well, cheers. It'll be great.
Cheers to you.
This is a weird mug because technically, and I had no idea, technically mugs are made for right-handed people. So if you're right-handed, this mug will show out. The words will show out. But if you're left-handed like CJ, the words face him. So I could either just put it on the other side or it's weird. It's for lefties only.
Yeah. So when you're pushing merch, it's like you're just showing people, hey, look at this sweet white mug I got.
Well, it's so you can draw on it, right?
Right. You can put your own design on the other side. That's what it's for, technically. Brilliant.
How are you, man?
Doing good. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. I heard you were watching The Mandalorian.
A little bit of Mando, yeah.
It was
with the kids.
It was fantastic finale there.
No. We're on episode 4. Rumor has it episode 5 is pretty big, but
it is. Stay off the internet. It was great, and we all were cheering and screaming and yelling, and there's even a post-credit scene too that will make you scream and yell as well. So it was fantastic.
Okay.
Are you on break yet, dude?
No. We have 2 days of remote learning because, why not just end it on Friday? So we were, to try to put it, we've been in all year. Our school had we had like 5% of our kids were out, which means we had to close. So we closed for 5 days, but then they passed a new rule, which meant we were only closed for 2 days. So we came back in for 2 days and then they sent us home again and said, we're going to remote teach, great kids. Let's rubber band.
Yeah, no, I get it. It's so for the first time ever, I am giving a test on the day before kids go to winter break because I just can't fit it in because there's just not enough. Like I only see my guys 2 days a week. So I have to give this assessment and I'm just like, bro, I don't want to, I don't really want to do that.
Here's a test.
So we're going to eat cereal and take a test. That's what we're going to do. We got cereal.
You're really fun.
And
you're the fun teacher.
It's like, sprinkle magic. It's like, let's sprinkle some cereal on the situation.
You sent boxes out too, right?
Yeah. So on those little boxes, I just slap their address on them. And then if you're doing a good job, and then I mail them to you. And so it's like, so bro, you're doing a good job. You want or if it's like, you're actually not doing such a good of a job. Do you want me to send you pops? Because I'll send you corn pops, bro.
No, those are the
Or
kids
just
that Rice
plain
Krispies.
Rice Chex.
Yeah, plain Rice Krispies. It's like,
Yeah.
what do you want? Oh, you want Special K? I got you, bro. You're being Special K right now. That's what's happening. So yeah, my plan is, I was saying this last week, my plan is to somehow financially come up with ways to send an entire cereal party to teachers. So you would get like a box and it would have enough cereal for your whole class. The only thing it wouldn't have is milk, but we'd give you like a gift card or something so you can get milk. Because plus I don't know what kind of milk people like. Are you organic? Are you whole milk? Are you almond? I don't know. Silk. But that just thought that would be so fun to like unbox the cereal, you know what I mean, and then like eat with your students. But I feel like COVID needs to clear before we can do that, because
I would say, but that's not about a real Rap with Reynolds box cereal party. I like it. That's I know I'd buy that.
Well, coming soon to a website near you. So cool. Look, man, I'm going to jump into the next one here.
All right.
It was good to talk to you twice in one weekend. No,
I had a question, man.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah,
I thought
He just thought you were here to like.
I mean, I'm good with this too, but I do have a question. So here's my question. So we talk a lot about this on Sundays, but what are some steps you think, especially now with this isolation, that teachers can make who really are trying to foster a teacher community where we're aligned, kind of shooting for the same types of goals in the classroom, if that makes sense, where we're working together separately, but working together, if that makes sense?
So you have a bunch of different teachers and you're trying to like kind of get on the same page so that you're working on their behalf. So I think one is to not give people directives, but to give people like to be inquisitive. Hey, what are you working on in your class? And try to align what you're doing with what they're doing. I think that works a lot better than to say, hey, I have this unit coming up on this. Do you have anything that you can add into it as well? Just puts another thing on someone's plate. I think also just finding common ground and getting along works really well too. So like, whether that is the kids are your common ground, you're all doing, I don't know, like have an online hangout and do like, we're doing Monday Night Football. We're doing, The Bachelorette. We're doing, whatever kind of thing you're doing. What that does is when you have shared space and shared stories, I think that ripples out to the rest of the community and you feel that. So then when something's going on, when you have a question about something, it's like, oh, well, we already like hang anyway. We do like wine and, Mandalorian on Fridays. And so, or maybe you drink blue juice like they do in the show and watch Mandalorian. But like, it's that shared space that I think builds it. And then one of the best things, I didn't even come up with this, but I talk about it in the book, Teacher Class Off. So in
oh, now you know what that means.
Yeah. Someone told me this idea once that they put all student names up somewhere, and then everyone when we're in person, they will put stickers next to each kid's name that they really connected with on some level. And the beauty of that is that you get to see who's left out. And then that becomes, I think, a shared mission for educators to say like, yo, let's divvy these dudes up, or like figure out like, oh, that kid's so nice. Like, or my favorite one, who's that? Oh, bro, I don't even know who that kid is. Like, then it's like, now they're on your radar and you're working together. And I think that that's where it starts, because I think that even the education piece has to start with relationships. It has to start with care. I think I've said this before, where like kids, and this isn't my line, but kids don't care what you know until they know that you care.
Yeah.
And when we do that, I think we're winning.
Trust, man. Fronts. Trust is where it's at. All right, man.
100%.
Listen, I don't want to take up any more of your time. Hey, to you and the not so hidden wife. By the way, your wife keeps peeking in a very creepy way. Yep. See, that is just that just adds to it. Hey, to all you guys, your whole family, Merry Christmas.
All right, brother. I'll see you soon.
All right, man. We'll see you.
Who's next?
Oh gosh.
This is awesome.
There's another Zoomer person.
Come on, you're loving this, aren't you?
We got another Stephanie Shook is next.
Stephanie Shook. I hope you're there and you're not blowing your nose or something like that. We're gonna let you in now. Because I guess people are just waiting in the waiting room. I did it to who's my buddy? Sojung last night, and she was like in the middle eating something. Stephanie, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
How are you?
I'm doing well, thanks. I'm gonna pop in here, and you guys are gonna have to not worry about my lack of brushed hair and everything. I just want to jump in and say, hey, good job on connecting with Zoom.
Yeah, I've been trying, and certain folks have been hitting me up forever, and it's like sometimes you get like a question, and you're like, well, I don't know what that meant, or it's like it's
Context.
like, what grade are you in? How many kids are we talking about? Like, and that helps answer questions better. So where are you from?
I'm in Virginia Beach, Virginia. And I've been following you for a little while. And so I'm a first-year teacher. I teach 6th grade inclusion English. And my not so really question was, I just started doing this the other day. I had this random idea, kind of like you, just like, you know what, hey, we're going to try this. And I said, hey, library media person and technology person, I'm going to do this. Do you guys want to like guest read at some point? And they're like, what? I'm going to read every day during the break at 7 p.m. for my students because some of them have not so great home lives. So I'm reading Christmas stories, Hanukkah stories, winter stories, whatever. And so I think I've done 3 days now, and I found that Zoom so far has been the best connectivity.
Yeah.
And that was the only way they could chat in YouTube because it has to be approved for kids. So I guess my question was for you guys is if you had any stories for between Christmas and New Year's, because I'm going to read it till January 4th when we go back from the break.
So in my video today, I mentioned this. I think, so there's a couple of authors. So what grade are you again? I'm sorry.
6th grade.
6th grade. So, oh God, like short stories or?
I mean, not novels, but it doesn't have to be, board books. So
Okay.
I'm kind of in the middle at that where some of them are really low readers, but who doesn't love story time? So even my adult friends are joining.
So we do a children's book project every single year with my freshmen. And it was really like dialed in because I was looking for ways to engage like my low level readers, but to not like kind of put them on blast. And because sometimes like what we would call children's books or picture books have some really adult themes in them, some really big, important things that we're talking about, but they do it in such an incredible way where it's not like when I was a kid, it was like the puppy that lost his, actually that might've just been from Billy Madison. I don't know if that was even a real story, but, or like, the little train that could, where it looked like kiddish, but there are two, I'm going to forget the other guy's name. Oliver Jeffers is one person that I'm thinking of, and his stuff is incredible. And he's like just super cool. If you just Google Oliver Jeffers, he makes books that I would read with my kids that I could walk away with something also. And then there's another dude, oh my gosh, I'm going to forget his name. I got to think of it. And then I'm going to put it out. I'll put it out on Instagram or something like that. But he writes children's books for adults, but they're just awesome. They're just like, they make you like want to just, the one that is like, when he talks about like being awesome. He has like long blonde hair. Yes. I have it in my classroom though, because the artwork is incredible. I found him because this guy was working with Vans for a while. So yeah, those two authors in particular, and then there's one of my favorite children's books of all time. It's super weird. It's by my friend Derek Brown, and it's called Hot Hands and Ralph. It's about a little girl whose hands are constantly on fire, so she has to wear these large metal gloves, and like no one can hug her, and she doesn't have any friends because she can't comb her hair. And then this dude decides that he's going to be friends with her, and they have this like kind of crazy relationship that leads to like.
I love it because I think it's like almost like an inclusion kind of thing. They figure out ways to have her join in or to use her skills, like her hot hands, to do amazing things.
So they're like, let's go diving, let's go look in caves, and like you can just take your gloves off. We can always see where we're going, and like if we're in a cornfield, like you can.
It's great. I love it. Oh no, I froze, guys. I don't know if it's me or if it's him. Technology is a wonderful thing. Oh no, I think it's me now. All right. Well, if you guys can still hear me and not CJ, I want to give you guys a quick tip. When I am on Zoom, there is about a 30-second delay between what we do on Zoom and what goes into the meeting. And the second thing is, if you happen to come up here for CJ, make sure you mute YouTube before you open your mic.
There it is. Now we're back. So my internet just completely died and then came back. So thanks for holding down the show for me there when I got
Anytime. Just giving some quick tech tips when they join you.
It is. It's Real Rap with Stephanie, and that's what's happening here. So did you not hear my?
I did not. You froze right in the middle.
So
that's okay.
Derek Brown is one. The other one is what's his name? Oliver Jeffers has great books. And the other one, I said Derek Brown. I'm forgetting the other one. I'll think of the other one. I'm going to post it on social. And then if you just, I'll put it on my Instagram stories or something like that. So yeah, cool. Well, look, thanks for coming on. I'm sorry that was, that was weird. I don't know what really just happened there, but that's what happens when you experiment with things.
No worries. And so because you jumped out of it too, I was telling them whenever they join you to make sure that they mute YouTube, because it'll echo back between the microphone and the delay, and it's really weird. But there is also about a 30-second delay in the video between Zoom and YouTube. So we can see the instant chat, but the video comes back late, and it just makes it a little awkward.
It's kind of like whenever you hear people call into a radio station, and they're like, "Hey, you have to turn off your radio," because it's and now that all makes 44 years later, it makes that moment make sense to me now.
All
so
right. Well, thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it.
You got it.
It's good to meet you guys.
Let's do.
Someone else is on here. So
got it.
This is I skipped someone. I thought that I didn't read. I thought that was De La Classroom. Naveed is up.
Oh, okay, awesome. And so there's no other questions that we just need to do in between?
No, because everyone should be using the Google Doc now, and I have it pinned up there. And
so should I explain that one more time?
Yep.
All right. So let me say this one more time, just because I realize. Look,
you're new.
One, let's just say this: when you try new stuff in your classroom, right? It's not always going to be the same, and it's not always going to work. And it might be a little bit like this. Makes your armpits sweat a little bit, and you get a little agita. But the beauty of it is that we're trying new stuff. We're trying to figure things out. And so as we're trying to figure this out, because I think it's going to be really beneficial. So that's the bottom line, right? Real Rap with Reynolds, what we're trying to do is make things beneficial to teachers. So if we can figure out a way to do that, that's what we're going to do. So if this is a little bit of a change, I'm hoping that folks can just go with it and it'll work. So if you want to ask a question, in lieu of getting lost in the sauce in the chat, you can put it in the chat, because what I didn't say earlier is, if you're in the chat, feel free to answer anybody's question. Feel free to add in any way that you can. And so, because that's helping to kind of beef this up. However, if you want to ask a question to me, Edie and my wife keep putting links in.
It's pinned.
It's pinned at the top of the chat. And so you just go in, you put your name in, you put your question in, and then that's where we're going to pull them from. And that just makes it easier and neater, and so people aren't getting lost in the sauce, kind of. So who's up next? De La Classroom?
Naveed.
All right, you're up now, buddy. Here you come. Get ready.
Sorry, we skipped you.
It's connecting to the audio here. There's a serious lag on YouTube. It's kind of crazy. It's kind of messing with my brain a little bit. What's up, buddy? How are you?
Oh my gosh, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing great.
Oh my God, it's like you get starstruck on this. I'm not used to this.
I'm starstruck talking to you right now, because I've seen your name in the chat for so long.
How you doing, sir?
This is awesome. I'll tell you what, I really thought for a while, I thought you were a woman. I don't know why, because I think there's another.
No, there's another De La Classroom, Queen De La Classroom.
Oh, all right.
And so that she's a female.
I just assumed it was the same thing.
For a long time, we assumed you all were the same person, and then you were in the chat together, and I was like, oh wait, how crazy that there's two people with De La Classroom.
Yeah, I mean, you teach Spanish too, so right?
No, I teach science, but I do have feminine qualities. So
Okay. Do you teach science in Spanish though?
Well, a lot of my students are Hispanic, so I do
All
try.
right. So I mean, look, I'm just really looking for a way to make myself not an idiot. But where are you from? Can you tell me?
I hail from San Diego, sunny San Diego in California.
All right,
so
we're from cold, dreary New Jersey, so it's basically
we're almost neighbors.
Yeah.
I teach bio and chemistry, so first year hybrid model. Woo, it's something, but we are holding on. So.
I'll bet. I love San Diego, man. I've been there once. My friend who's in the chat sometimes, Kate the Sleepy Teacher, is from there, and I don't know where my water glass I have. I
Stole it.
Kate made me steal it. She made me steal it from this bar because there's this spot in San Diego where you can see like the sunset, and there's like this green flash that happens when the sun goes down sometimes. And so we went to this amazing bar that was like just looked out on the ocean. It was actually we were at this place on my anniversary while my wife was home making peanut butter and jelly with my kids. I was eating like lobster tacos and drinking beer with Kate.
With another woman.
Yes.
I'm not gonna touch that one.
So what's going on, man?
Good. I had a question. I think yesterday you were testing out the Zoom thing.
Yeah.
You said you traveled or you taught abroad in Zambia.
Mm-hmm.
How did that opportunity come up and when did it happen? Because I've got no commitments. I live with my roommates, my parents. But I tell people,
all right.
But I don't have any commitments right now. But because of the pandemic, it's probably on a pause. Like, any details on that and how did you get going?
So we're sitting in our church that we used to be a part of in Philly. These people show up and they're like, they haven't left Africa in like, I don't know, 10 or 20 years or something like that. And they were from the United States. They went to this place called Macha, which is a very small village in Zambia. So like the short of it was they get up at the end of the service and they're like, hey, if anyone, like, we need volunteers. There's no internet. It takes a really, really long time to get there. There's really like, we can't even like, we don't know what your experience is going to be like, but we need people to show up. And so we were like, oh, we'll go, we'll do it. And cause that's, when you're 20 nothing years old, that's what you do. So it was the furthest from home I've ever been. It was like the flight to London is like 7 hours. It was an 11-hour flight to Zambia and then a 6-hour car ride to this next town and then a 2-hour car ride to like the most middle of nowhere I've ever been in my life. Like so dark at night that you couldn't see your hand in front of your face. But, I saw poverty that I've never seen before or since. Like kids like eating out of trash piles. Like when I think of American poverty often, and I'm not trying to like dismiss anyone's situation, but like it is not that. It is not, I don't have any clothes. I literally don't have anywhere to live. I don't have anything to eat. And the people that I'm begging from don't have anything either. So it was like a real eye-opening moment for me. And so I taught at this school where kids had to pay something like $300 a year to go there, but most of their parents lived on less than $1 a day. And it just was incredible. Like it was an incredible experience for a million different reasons. And if you don't so I think there's two things here. One is to having the opportunity to go somewhere that's wildly different than where you teach now and seeing what that's like. The second thing, I'll tell you, it was just as gratifying to me when I got to take a few trips with my students abroad before COVID happened. And one time in particular, we were in Belize and I had a bunch of kids. Some of them wanted to be teachers in the future. And we got to go visit this school that had they had 2 staplers in the whole school. Right. And like stuff like that, where there weren't any ceiling fans, but it was 110 degrees out. So to even have the opportunity to take your students abroad to places like that, and there's tons of companies that you can use. We used EF Tours, but I have no affiliation with them. But that's just the one I used. And that was so fun. And you go for 2 weeks and you do adventures and you go do meaningful stuff also, meet people and check stuff out, and you're with your kids. And then that bond forever. You have with those students because you just went through this whole experience with them. So yeah, it's something I really look forward to getting back into as soon as all this kind of clears up and we can get back out there. Our plan last year was to go to Japan, which was, my students were stoked about. They just think everything's going to look like anime, I think, in Japan, but it's what happens when you're 14 and you just watch a lot of anime. You're like, oh no, I know this was I basically know the customs because I watched Last Airbender, and I'm like, no, I mean, that's how it works, bro.
Not wrong. They're not wrong. Okay, one follow up to that. For
Sure.
the one where you went on when you went on your own, how long was it? Did you mention that?
It was like, I think we went for like 2.5 months because we had just gotten married and I was still had to pay rent here and like all that. Like I couldn't fully leave being here. And I wanted to teach. So this was like, I did student teaching. And then literally as soon as I was done student teaching, got on an airplane, went to Africa, and then came back and had to like look for a job and stuff. So that was all the time we had. But 2.5 months was like when life is that slow. Because there's like when there's no light out at night, you can't go anywhere. You can't do anything. There's no TV. There was no internet like where we were. So it's like a lot of reading books and playing cards and stuff. And so it's, that feels like a very long time when those.
Don't we have someone else that does sort of teaching through Peace Corps, like Peace Corps that we have a few, like.
I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of people.
Karen Jean Hunt, like. Who
Oh,
used
yeah.
to, like, hang out with us. She's in like, I think she does teaching in the Peace Corps.
Yeah. So we can figure that out. So
Yeah.
if anyone has information on how you can do that, like maybe they could just put it in the chat, then you could get it from there. But look, man, I appreciate you coming on. It's fun to talk to you and see you and stuff like that.
Likewise. I'll let you go, but appreciate all the things you do for us.
You got it, man. My pleasure.
All right, buddy.
I'll see you later. Peace.
Okay, next up is Liz P. And she says, zoom it up.
Liz. All right, and you're gonna go take care of the kitchen cabinet guy.
Yeah.
All right. Is she in the?
I'm hoping so.
I don't have her.
Liz P.
Liz, are you in the? Oh wait, is it Miss? Maybe that's her.
Oh, you can jump.
Liz, are
I don't know
you
my dog.
Miss? Oh, it's gonna destroy me. POLOWCZYK. Is that you? That's the only P that I see in there. Should we just try that? Give it a shot, see what happens. Edie, I'm not sure what to do. We're at a standstill here. And actually, Edie, don't worry about it because you're doing enough stuff, and I don't want to overwhelm you. Let's see. All right, I'm gonna admit this person and hope that it's the right one. If it's not, my bad.
Oh, it's working
Hello,
now.
how are you?
I'm good.
Are you Liz?
Yep.
Oh, okay. So I saw the last name and then I saw Liz P and I was like, I don't know if that P and this, I don't know if it's the same thing. So awesome. How are you? Where are you from?
I am from north of Charlotte, North Carolina.
Okay. That's it's not as cold as it is here, I feel like.
We have really cold mornings, and I think today I haven't been outside all day. It's all gray, but I think it's like 40 today.
Oh, all right. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's not too different than us. It's like raining here and it snowed this week, so now it just looks like a hot mess that's outside. So cool. What are we talking about? What do you got?
So probably kind of can't talk. This is like weird.
Take your time. Super weird.
So
Take your time.
we're virtual, just like you've been all year. I think you're still virtual like for
Yeah, 100%.
right. And we know that that's kind of difficult getting kids to turn in work and take things seriously. And I was just wondering if you had any tips or tricks about keeping kids accountable with their grades and their work, because we just ended first semester on Friday and I had more kids fail than I've ever had. I had 24 out of 160. And I mean, that's like an entire class is failing.
Mhm.
So I'm just wondering if you've been doing anything different than what you've done while we're in person, and if you can give me any tips about that.
Sure. So let me ask you this first. How's your school kind of addressing that so far? What's their answer to that?
So it's been a little bit difficult because the admin is supportive of us and the efforts that we're doing, but at the same time, we get a lot of pressure because they're like, this is a problem and we need to fix it. And the solution that my admin of my department gave me was that we offer all of our kids extra credit. So we did that. They had an extra credit essay to do. And of course, the kids that did it were the kids that we weren't trying to target.
Yeah.
Those were the B to A kids and not the not the D to C kids that probably could use it. So, I mean, it was beneficial for some kids, but wasn't the outcome I was looking for.
Yeah. It's like I have kids that either have a 4% or 104%. And it's like, this is, I get it. So a couple of things that I've thought of is one is, I think the first part is like not even academic. It's really realizing what we're going through right now and how different it is, and that we're going to figure it out, and no one's life is going to be like hopefully ruined by this. Like, I really don't think that I think that once we get back in the classroom, that's going to be a big adjustment too, because, you had to put on pants for the first time in 18 months. But so it's trying to know that you're trying to do your best and that it's not life or death. No one dies because we didn't give them enough work, or they didn't learn the Krebs cycle this year, or, whatever it is. So that's part of it. I think the other part of it is really thinking about how can we rig the game so kids can win. So a friend of mine gave me a good piece of advice the other day. He said, if you're giving extra credit, what he does is say it's a 20-point extra credit assignment. And the average classwork assignment is worth about 5 points. So if I give 20 points, that's huge, because what I'm doing is I'm not going to put in like 100% for that. I'm not going to put in the 20 out of 20. Instead, these points will be able to fit in. So if you didn't do work in the past, this will take the place of those zeros. And apparently mathematically, and I don't know this because I teach English for a reason, mathematically, it has a far greater impact on your grade than putting in 100. So that's one thing. I think but I'm not a huge proponent of extra credit, but I am a proponent of grace. So allowing kids to retake assessments is a really good move. I made a post in our Facebook group recently too, where I got a ton of good ideas on what I'm doing is sending notifications home every Friday. So this won't happen till the new year because I'm still trying to square it away. But every Friday, every parent from every kid that's failing will get a notification, but it will come from their child. It will not come from, so I don't have to generate this. I don't have to write all the emails. I don't have to send all this stuff out because I don't have enough time for that. Kids are going through the grade book every week. They're seeing what they didn't do. So they're going to talk about, what did we learn? What didn't I do this week? And what can I do to make my grade better? So there's a retake on the test on Wednesday. There's another quiz next Tuesday, whatever it is. So it's not just, here's what I did wrong. It's here's the plan of attack on how to make things better. And I'm finding that, typically I think, all my grades are online. My grades are always up to date, almost every single day, unless there's a project. And then parents will always come to you and say how come you didn't tell me? And it's dude, I already do all this work to make sure that you have it known. But I just really feel like this year, parents are so overwhelmed with everything that it's if you're homeschooling your kid, if you're working from home, if you're at work and then you have to come home and your kids are supposed to be homeschooling themselves, but they weren't really doing it because they're not there's so many moving factors that it's just an act of kindness on my part to just send this very simple thing home so that you know what's going on. And then what your kid, so that I don't have to even get an email back that says, what does he do to raise his grade? He already knows. And so if you take the last 10 or 15 minutes of class at the end of the week to do that, then kids that are passing don't have to have a parent notify me that they saw it. You get a grade just for noting what happened that week. But if you're not passing, now part of your grade is tied in to whether or not your parents respond to that communication. And that has a really positive effect. And it's really appreciated by parents because they feel like they're in the know. Because all of a sudden, parents went from just parents to teachers. And it's we used to outsource this. It would be if I had to do my own car maintenance, all of a sudden it's bro, we're taking the bus because I don't even know what the hell I'm doing. But I think that's part of it. And the way you talk to kids about that is, it's not I'm trying to catch you. It's not I'm trying to because kids get that all the time, where they're how come you called my mom? I feel like you got me in trouble. And it's nope, my job is communication. My job is student success. And I'm trying to figure out ways to help you. And if that includes calling your mom, then guess what, bro? She made you, so she gets to know. That's how we roll that. Does that help at all, or?
Yeah, it does. I definitely do the checkpoint for their grades halfway through the quarter, but I think I definitely need to figure out some way to do it weekly or something with
Even
my.
if it's bi-weekly, right? But what you're doing is putting the onus on children and not on you. The last thing you need is another thing to do, right? Like we all have too many things to do. But by making kids do it, then the kids are also interacting with the grade book. They're seeing what their own grades are. They're thinking, I get kids that are like, oh, wait, I did that assignment. Like you didn't get it. And then because sometimes, they put it in the wrong Flipgrid account. They put it in the wrong, they emailed it to the wrong teacher because they don't look at the names. And so Mr. Wren gets just as much email as Mr. Reynolds sometimes. So, that helps them to kind of be proponents on their own part to they're like advocating for themselves on some level too. So
Yeah, one last thing, and then I'll
Yeah.
stop taking up time for everybody else. I think you said you hadn't completely fleshed it out for second semester, but are you having the kids email the parents themselves, or how are you thinking
that's a good idea. So here's so it is me making a document that students have to fill out, and then they have to share that with their parents. And then the parents, this is the hard part, right? This is the part where kids could forge it. They could email it back to me from mom's email account. Like there could be some of that, but at the end of the day, you're not winning. Because at the end of the day, when your mom gets mad and they go, no, ma'am, I have like 4 emails back from you about this, then that becomes a whole nother conversation, right? But what you're trying to do is just close the gap between, it's not just me and the student, it's me, the student, and the parent. And so it's students like filling out a Google document and then communicating that to their parents, whether they send it to their phone, whether they send it to an email account that works or something like that. Because not every, like some of my guys are raised by their grandparents, and maybe grandmom, she's still on Hotmail. I'm like, I don't know what's happening here, but they're not as tech savvy. So the plan is to figure out a way to do it, but then we'll just pivot and adjust to make sure that every parent is included and no one's kind of left out of that. So I'll share that. Actually, when I get that done, I'll make an announcement. I'll put it up on the website.
That'd be awesome. You got my wheels turning now. So thanks a lot.
Awesome. You got it. Have a great day.
You too.
Who's next?
You better write a note.
I am going to write a note. I was trying to get into the pen situation
Yeah,
here.
I know. I'm blocking everything.
It's all right.
Okay, so Naomi is next, and she's asking any suggestions for getting donations for my classroom. We are a new school, and I am starting in January with very limited everything, and my personal funds will only get us so far.
Yep. So I think here's my real take on this, Naomi. I think that most people want to help, and especially when children are involved, they want to help even more. And so what we can do when we ask for help, right? Whether that's Donors Choose, which, my friend, I'm not a good Donors Choose person, but like my friend Jen Jones says that everybody should have 3 to 4 Donors Choose projects going at once, because every once in a while, like some gazillionaire just comes in and just like pays for all of them. Or like, you just never know what you're going to get. So you always have that going on for like this kind of wish list dream area. The other piece is, I think part of it is figuring out what you need, figuring out who has it, and then going and asking them for it. So I have done that on Instagram, on Facebook, and I had like I don't even remember what her name was, but some wonderful woman bought stools. Like the stool that you're sitting on right now was all purchased from someone. I've had a bunch of folks like just send things to my classroom or send things to students or whatever. The other thing is like once I was doing a community garden at my school and I needed supplies. So I just went to Home Depot and I said, hey, look, here's what I need. It costs about $2,000. I have zero money for it, but I didn't know if you guys could like donate it. Do you have like any old lumber that like is all jacked up that I could have? Do you have like screws that fell out of a box and like you're going to chuck them in a dumpster anyway? And it turns out that they had money already set aside to help community members. And then in talking to them, like, oh yeah, a lot of big businesses, like the big box stores that you go to already have part of their funding. They allocate funds for this to be able to help when it's needed. So it's really contacting. Now I wouldn't contact like be mindful. Like you want to make sure you have a decision maker. So if you email, but a store manager would work, but I think a district manager would be even better because they can make that call.
Yeah, but I think store managers can too, at least in Home Depot. When we had that scenario happen,
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
I don't know if she just made it because she loved you.
no,
or
the
if
first
she
one
just
was
made it.
that his name was Drew.
Oh,
That
it was
helped
someone
us.
different.
And what he told, this is the manager from Home Depot. This is what he told me. He
Let's
goes,
preface it that you knew that.
I did know him because I used to
But
work at
that's
Home
not why
Depot.
we got
No,
funded.
I did not get funded because I knew him. Because people at, like, when I worked at Home Depot, there were some managers that were real sticklers for all the rules. He said to me, he goes, I feel like I work for the evil empire, and giving this to you gives me a chance to give back what you're allowed. So don't think of it as just a favor you're asking. You're asking people to be a blessing to others. You're asking people, do you want to be an answer to someone's prayers? And that, when you look at it that way, and if you look at it to like, it's not for me, I'm trying to get some stuff for my kids. So whether you're at the food store, you're at the craft store, you're at, you go to Michael's or Joann Fabric or Home Depot or Target or Walmart. One of my favorite books of all time is I Feel Great and You Will Too by Pat Croce. And Pat Croce says this: if you don't ask, the answer's already no. So it's just about going to these places, asking people like, hey, I'm just asking if you want to be an answer to someone's prayer. That's all. Like, and I don't, maybe Hobby Lobby can get away with that language, but I don't know if that everyone.
But I think most stores have that money allocated, like we
Yeah.
said, but I think that they're so busy, they don't know how to use that money locally, like within their communities. It takes the community to reach out to those people and say, hey, we need your help. And you get it. You'd be surprised at, I think, how many times you get a yes by just asking. Nobody asks is the problem.
You're right.
Okay.
Hold on. I want to show everyone my favorite new Zoom background that I used in school the other day. Ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
Bam. Mandalorian. Sitting here with Baby Yoda. It's the best background.
Because I love when he's animated in it. It's
yes.
So cute.
Anyway, go ahead.
Okay. Laura Campion is asking, hey Reynolds, hit us up with some positivity as we head into the holidays. What are some of your beautiful family's traditions this time of year? Peace, health, and happiness.
Oh,
thank you so much, Laura.
Yes.
Same to you.
Thank you very much. I mean, it's a tricky year. So yesterday we were supposed to have
pancakes and pajamas.
With
family.
With our whole family and get together and stuff. And that got struck down because one of my cousins is pregnant, and her doctor was like strongly urged her to not be around that many family members. And
so that doctor messed up our whole holiday plans, and now we're home alone.
What I'm saying here is that doctors ruin Christmas. That's what I'm just saying. So
I'm to do it by ourselves.
No. Well, that was one thing. And then they were like, so we don't even think you should do like Christmas dinner or anything like that. So usually it's changed over the years. I grew up in a house. This was one of my favorite things. This is what I'm going to give you. This is what you should do when it's not COVID. Growing up, a lot of my friends were Jewish or Muslim. And so they were, but they were all the guys that I hung out with all the time. So at Christmas, because when you grow up like in a small neighborhood and everybody celebrates Christmas, and like, you don't like, not until I went to high school to have friends that were like, didn't look like me, that didn't come from the same background as me. But like growing up, it was basically like Sandlot, right? No, that was a slightly diverse cast. It was like all white Sandlots, right? So like that's where I lived. That was my experience. When I went to high school, I remember meeting friends that were Jewish, and I'm like, wait, what are you doing? What do you guys, do Christmas? And they're like, no, man, like, no, we're Jewish. Like, what are you talking about? And like, I don't know, like you're 15, like it didn't dawn on you before. I'm like, so what are you doing on Christmas? They're like, I don't know, we usually just go to the movies. And I just thought that was like, I'm like, but we're having a big party at our house. Like, I don't care if you I don't care if you celebrate Christmas, but like, you just come over for our party. So my mom started inviting all of my friends' families over, and they would come over on Christmas Eve. So we would have these massive parties on Christmas Eve. It reminded me of the Fezziwig party from A Christmas Carol, which is one of my favorite scenes in any story ever. And we would have it would be like all my Jewish friends would come over, like Muslim friends would come over, friends that didn't have anywhere else to go, or that their families didn't do anything, or that their families weren't like a particularly safe or inviting place to be around. They would come over. Then as we got older, it started getting weird when we also had foster kids. So we had tons of foster kids at my house. all these different people in my home. Then everyone would start drinking. And then at night, they would be us and our friends. Well, I didn't drink back then, but like us and our friends would all be drinking and they'd be putting toys together. So it looked like Santa's elves, but it looked like, when Buddy the Elf tries to put stuff together and it's like, hey, that Slinky's doesn't look looks like he straightened it out or something went wrong with it.
Doll
It's like,
houses that needed stickers on it. They were slightly a
a
little
little crooked. But it
still
was
great.
so fun because it was inclusive. It was a communal activity. And that was one of my favorite things. So we did that when our kids were younger. But then as they got older, it was hard because it was loud and there was too many people and you need to put your kids to bed and you didn't want to be up till 3 o'clock in the morning. So maybe one day that'll happen again. But we still have people over for Christmas Eve. A lot of times my brother stays with me. My wife's stepmother will come and stay with us. And it's just a day about being together. And as far as Christmas break, I really, really try hard to want it, but not need it. I don't want to just be like, oh, because I know how hard that is. I realize how difficult that is, but it just makes me do better when I'm in it. Like, it just makes me like, I appreciate it more, because what I don't want to have is when it's time to go back to school to be like bummed that break's over. It's like, no, that was a nice to have, right? It was like, I don't know. I can't really think of a metaphor for that, but it was like a thing that was nice to have, but wasn't completely necessary. Cool. What you got, dude? This is fun. I feel like we're not getting to nearly as many questions, but
Topher, Classroom Confidential, is asking follow up from a previous live stream.
Yep.
My principal, who took away arts and music and replaced by study hall, now he thinks the answer is time management classes. Why does admin fail to see the answer isn't academic rather than one of morale and socio emotional nurturing? Frustrated as hell. I know. Schools that operate out of that place drive me insane. Why is it so hard for them to see that, like, those other things are, that the academics will follow if you do the others?
Because I think there's a lot of reasons for that. One is you've been conditioned to look at numbers and data and let them run the show instead of looking at people.
You shouldn't be in education
because you can't, there's no data on feelings. There's no data on love. There's no data on like taking your time and like.
Can we get data on dumbness? Does that work? I'm just kidding.
No, but I think if we do look at schools that care about kids, that put kids first, that, that focus on that. And the problem is we know so many principals that do that focus on the kids first. And we've seen it win. We've seen people win all the time, but it's also messy. And so if you're running a school like you're running a business, like it's just, I can't say it's not going to work because I don't know every school in the world, and maybe it does. But if you're running school because education's only ever about the students and you have a big picture in mind and you're not a manager, but you're a leader, that's a huge difference, right? Leaders make change. Leaders have guts. Leaders try stuff. Leaders are pioneers, whereas managers just take directive and they do what they're told by their board or their district or whatever. And I think there's different types of folks like that. But I think the latter, I think that the question is about something that it's messy and it's not, there's no one size fits all, right? So what I say all the time, I was just talking to my friend Cho about this the other night. The things I do in school, the things that are in my book, the things I talk about on YouTube, not all of them are going to be for everyone. But for my school, my students, my personality, the community that I work a part of, they work, right? But not everything is going to work for everybody. It's the same thing as differentiated instruction. You can go into differentiated instruction and think, well, there was a written component, a speaking component, a tactile component. The students moved around for exactly 3.2 minutes in the middle of the lesson. Like, you can do that, but that's like someone teaching you to dance and then not having any kind of swag be a part of it. If you're just doing the moves, that's not, it's like, you just can't do that. But I think that's most things in life. That is caring for the people that you love. That is playing music. It's learning how to dance. It is figuring stuff out. It is, there's anytime you want the program it's just not going to work. I don't like educational programs is because when they bring in some new curriculum specialist that's like, well, we tested your kids and the Lexile levels here, and we feel like this is what everyone sounds like in my head. It's like, it's too, like, I get the data matters, right? The data, there is a place for it, but that can't be it. There has to be this other component of feelings, of relationships, of community building, of social emotional well-being for students. And where do we get that stuff? What deals with social emotional things better, I think, than, I'll say, English class, and that's not just because I'm an English teacher, but also music, art, the things that kind of get us out of, the things that are far more interpretive. I just think that's a whole piece that we miss. But it's because it's messy. What you got, dude?
Okay.
You got a lot of things going on over there.
Yeah.
I feel like we're on a radio show now.
I feel like I'm overwhelmed.
We'll be back.
Tiana is asking, what advice would you give to a college student who is in the process of getting their credentials? I'm super excited to teach, but I always have one question in my mind. Will I be good at it?
Yes. That's a great question. Here's what I think.
What?
Teaching is it's a skill, it's a craft, right? You don't get good at anything. You can't get good at playing piano by watching videos about playing piano, reading books about playing piano, meeting people that play piano, and hearing people talk about playing piano. You can't. You got to play piano. That's the only thing. So I think that what I'd really focus on is you. How are you going to handle all of this? What's your social emotional well-being like? How do you handle problems? What are things that are shadow sides of yours? Like, so some stuff that, like, are you quick to anger? Do you have, are they in any, like, parts of your confidence that need work? Your organizational abilities, your ability to, like, multitask or pivot when necessary. It's looking at, but not beating yourself up about things that are part of you. So what are your strengths and what are your weaknesses? And then sometimes weaknesses shouldn't be focused on, right? Sometimes just maximizing your strengths. But if you have bad organizational skills, or you don't know how to talk to, like, a parent that's upset, maybe that's, something you should work on. So it's like, I think using stuff like that, and I'll tell you a tool that I found this week, and I'm not affiliated with them, although I wish I was. There's a new app, new to me, called Blinkist. And I heard about it on like a million different podcasts. And what it is, you can get a 7-day free trial. Again, I am not affiliated with them. I'm not getting paid for this. 7-day free trial to read as many books as you want. But they break books down into just their core components. It's kind of like Spark Notes, right? But for like a million great books. And I found it so interesting this week because there's a ton of books I want to read, but I don't know if I want to buy them. And this gives me the ability to kind of like read through and go, oh no, this is exactly what I'm talking about. And some books that are, like, one of my favorite books is Think and Grow Rich. And, like, cause I think it's good for like a million reasons. And I think it makes teachers better teachers also, but, it's a lengthy book. And sometimes it just goes on and on and on and on and on and on and on. But to read it on Blinkist, which I did this week, it was really great. So I think that that's a good resource too. So it's not just looking at the pedagogy, it's looking at you as a person and how are you going to show up to class to be the best version of yourself that you can be. Oh, and there's the dog sitting outside the door going, guys, I'm out here. Anybody come get me? Let's do another one. Let's go. This is great.
Summer Tate is asking, I will be hosting a practicum student for 20 weeks on Zoom. As a third-year teacher, I am struggling to not burn out and do not want to scare her away from teaching and want this to be a positive experience. Any tips on how to be a dynamite host to a soon-to-be teacher in remote learning?
I think, that's a great question.
It is a great question.
I think sometimes it's acknowledging where we are, right? It's not an excuse. It's a reason. Look, this is where we're at right now. This is the state of the world. And I've had so in where we live, there's a college called St. Joe's, and St. Joe's University used to send students to my class all the time. And then I would, like, go to their college classes and speak there and stuff like that. But, like, they would just send people in for the day or for like a few weeks or something like that. And some days are just not fun, right? Like even in person, it was like someone shows up and they like heard about your class. They want to come check it out. They want to be and, you know, look through your books and all this stuff. And it's like you're taking a test that day, or I had bad news that morning, or, you know, it was like, I got like something happened with a student. You know, it's just not optimal. It's about bringing people in and letting them know that teaching is just about this also. It's about pivoting. It's about making something from nothing. It's about showing up to work on bad days and trying to be the best version of yourself. And so right now with virtual learning, I mean, we can act like this is way different. And in some ways it is, right? Really, like clearly, but at the same time, we're still showing up, trying to meet kids where they are and trying to bring them up to where they can be. We're trying to care for kids for who they are and not for who we want them to be. And I don't think any of that changes. So it's like figuring out ways to care for children, to find kids that think they're invisible, to make them visible, to still have a sense of community, still have a sense of like, we're getting like, even though this is hard for me, how do I have fun? Because honestly, like, how are we expecting students to show up and give their all if we're not doing that every day? So it's helping people figure that out, even in the midst of all this stuff. And then I just keep telling kids like, bro, you have a story now. Like, hopefully nobody in your known future is ever going to have to deal with this again. And then to be able to talk about like, you know, how tough this is. It's not easy to be doing all, you know, all this stuff and to be online. So I think that it's exercising a muscle that is going to make everything else seemingly easier, right? Like when you bench press, I'm never going to push that much weight up. I'm never going to have to, just the tree is not going to fall on my chest. You know, I'm not going to get like, you know, if I get hit by a car, I'm certainly not pushing it off of me, but you're using muscles to a capacity that is going to make carrying your groceries in, no problem. Getting a piece of plywood put in the back of your pickup truck, not a problem, because you were working out already. So that's what school feels like to me right now. It feels like a really hard workout that in the future is going to make other stuff just, it's like, damn, like school seems like a breeze now. Yeah.
Everyone's asking for how you get those fun Zoom pictures, and the Baby Yoda one specifically, Chris Carson was asking for. Or where do you find moving backgrounds for Zoom? Or
I look them up on YouTube.
Can you put a link in for the Yoda one?
Yeah, dude, I can do that.
Is it quick?
Yeah. Do you have another question while I'm doing that?
Let's see. Yes, our next question is a good one. It's from Christopher. He's saying, how do we prevent cookie cutter lessons / activities? I'm finding that my students are getting bored with the current model we're doing, and I would love to start something new for the new year. We've been using Nearpod and Flipgrid a lot. I apologize for not being able to Zoom. My computer's in my classroom. Oh, no worries. Did you do it?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. For all the Baby Yoda
Baby
lovers.
Yoda fans. Who's not a Baby Yoda fan? There's something wrong with your life.
He's so cute.
No, you need to rethink life if you don't like Baby Yoda.
We probably should call him by his real name, which is not Baby Yoda.
It's Baby Yoda. It's the same reason everyone just calls him Mando still. We know his name for since last year. We still call him Mando.
Okay, so that's Christopher's question.
So, it's funny. I got to work with a company last year called HMH, Houghton Mifflin Harcourt, and I made a whole bunch of content for them for their gated site. So it's like not available to the public unless you're on Houghton Mifflin Harcourt. It's like, if you have if your school has it, then you can get on there and you go to this place called Teacher's Corner, and then there's like the Reynolds Corner. So the interesting thing was that they started sending me all this textbook stuff that they had. Like, so, hey, here's lessons from our textbook. Can you tell us how you would do it? And it's comprehensive. It's like, here's your pre-class, here's your expectations, here's the reading, here's the questions, here's the exit ticket or whatever they have, here's the quiz, the test. It's all there. And so what I liked about that was I don't have that in my school. I have almost complete freedom. Like for 90% of my years, like anything I want to do is what I do. To have someone tell me, and this is how I looked at it. It wasn't like HMH was really great. It's actually like one of my favorite companies I've ever worked with. But to have them say, here's the package, and now I got to figure out what to do with it. All that really felt like to me was like, and I talk about this a lot, where school lessons are often like boxed cake. So if you go and you buy like a Betty Crocker, cake, I don't know, that's what we have in the US. I have no idea how far and wide Betty Crocker is, but like if you buy a pre-packaged, like you buy a cake that you have to like, the kind you put like a little bit of that cake dust in the, I don't know what that crap is. It's cake dust in the bowl, and you mix it with like an egg and some oil or whatever you do. I don't tell how much I make box cakes, but like, then you bake it. You can feel some sense of accomplishment, but like if you give someone a cake that has like no icing on it, has no sprinkles on it, it's not displayed in any kind of beautiful way, like what now? So what I think of when I'm doing that is, my son is broadcasting to me on Google right now. It is thinking about how can I take what I got and then sprinkle some magic on top of it. And the way that I do that is by really taking a step back and thinking, how can I present this information? So when you have a cake, it's not only about the cake, it's about the icing on top. It's about the sprinkles. Do you have candles? What kind of candles do you have? What kind of platter are you putting it on? What kind of event is going on when you cut the cake? Is it a whole situation? Maybe you have sparklers on the top. You just went out, didn't even do candles to begin with. Is it in a beautiful, nice casing and it sits there all day and you're building like a sense of like excitement around like when you finally get to eat the cake? Are you serving it with ice cream? What kind of ice cream? Are you putting it on plates? Is it going into a bowl? Like you're thinking of that stuff too. So when you have boring lessons, simple couple of things that I've talked about before, about if they bear repeating, are how can you get kids, guys, we're doing this thing today, right? And you can set it up however you want, but like making it an event, right? How are you reading what you're reading? And although virtual it's going to affect this, of course, like it affects everything else. How are you reading it? Where are you reading it? So if you're reading ghost stories, if you're talking about something in history where like people were, I don't know, like where you're talking about people that were in the fields, people that were in the Dust Bowl, people like wherever, like think about where you're at, or what you're reading or what you're reading about, and then where in the school or in your community would be a good place. Maybe that's your background and you just start changing your background to be different places. Like it could be, I mean, I don't have a lot on here because this is a new account, but like if we are just reading today, welcome back everyone. And like, you create a whole sense of like what you're doing and the space that you're in. Are we in space today? Are we talking about the mysterious places? This is actually exactly where we got engaged, in case she said no. Someone was going off the cliff. No. So using video backgrounds for different stuff. Like I think also using music changes classes. It is like if you play music behind what you're reading, it makes it funnier, it makes it more exciting, it makes it like, wait, what? Like, let me turn on, I gotta check in on what the hell Reynolds is doing right now. That's why you're playing this music over what we're doing. Like, especially love scenes, man, you play some sweet Barry White over somebody reading a love scene. It's the most hilarious thing you can imagine in school. So all of that's so important. But that's the sprinkling magic thing. It's, can we do this while sitting on the floor, while laying on the floor? Can we do this while we're all standing up on our desk? Can we do this while we're on the school stage or in the cafeteria, in the basement, in the back of the school, in an alleyway? Is there a cool place near your school that you can go to the woods or to the city or whatever? What's that? Yeah. Little candle lights that I get from the dollar store. Like when we did ghost stories last year, we started going into the basement of the school. I got everyone dollar store tea light candles that were battery powered. Bought a whole bunch of them. Everyone held them. We sat in a circle. We read this ghost story. It was super fun, but you didn't need it. It didn't cost a lot of money, but it was just ways that you start looking at it and going, are we reading about spies? And then how can we do that? How can I bring in, maybe we have like, evidence around, maybe we have to solve a mystery. Like you just start looking at stuff like that. I'll tell you, the book to go to on this is Teach Like a Pirate. By my guy, Dave Burgess. He wrote this book and it has all these hooks in it that are they just make you start going, yes, there's a million opportunities that I just didn't see before. And the more let me say the last thing about this, the more you do this, the better you get, right? If I go to my pantry right now, I basically look for stuff that's already ready to eat, right? Like I don't cook, but someone that knows how to cook is going to see ingredients. They're going to start putting things together. It's like ratatouille. They start looking for these taste explosions that exist. And so it's really a muscle that you have to exercise to see what you can do. What you got?
Indie Kitty, thank you for the super chat. That's so nice.
Oh, nice. Thank you.
She's asking, I have Disney Plus for Hamilton. Anything else I should watch?
The Mandalorian.
The Mandalorian Plus, I think is it on Disney Plus? It's coming out with all the new little series that Birdie was telling us about from Marvel.
Oh yeah. There's a ton of new Marvel
There's
stuff.
so much great stuff coming out on Disney Plus. It's like
I would also say I'm not a musical person. The Greatest Showman was so good. Like cried like 4 times during it. Like I do not like musicals, but even the music in it was so good. It just I loved it.
I used to not like any Marvel stuff, and now I love them all.
We watched,
and I can't wait for
that
all
was
the
series. That was like our thing last year. It was like
did.
we watched every single Marvel anything.
Yeah, we did. I wanted to see all of them. They're great. Okay. AB is asking, Mr. Reynolds, if you wrote a book about the stories of your mom, I would buy it. I like all of those stories of her kindness. Speaking of kindness, do you think kindness and care is more important than grades? Evil genius get perfect grades. Nazi party was about 25% PhDs. But what did it matter if that's what they did with their education? All those horrific acts against others. I think true teaching is just care for others, or maybe just like what your mom did when she cared about the lunch bag puncher who felt invisible. Are moral and ethic priorities more important than academic ones? As a mom, I say yes.
So first of all, thank you very much. My mom was a special person. And so like those that don't know, like my mom passed away. It was actually just the anniversary on Friday. It's 22 years. So as a 44-year-old, I've been alive. I had as much time on earth with my mom as I've had without my mom now, which is a weird thing this week. So I've been thinking about her a lot. And
I skipped
I think it's both. And here's why. Because I think caring for people is challenging people. Caring for people is helping them to grow into who they are. And so, when we are pushing kids, when we want kids to learn, we want kids to do better, when we're looking at things like grades, grades to me are like, they're not the indicator, they're an indicator as to whether or not you're doing the work that you need to do. They're a way for you to reflect, because we don't teach our students, and even adults don't do this very often. We don't teach one another to like be accountable, to look like how many, like I know I do this, but I know that like almost, I won't say none of my friends, a lot of the friends I've been making lately do this, but like looking back over your year and really assessing how it went. How did you feel like you, for lack of a better term, scored on your relationship with your wife? Did you go out on enough dates? Did you go, or husband, or whatever your situation is? It is, how many dates did I go on? What are some things that like we let go this year that we'd rather do more? How much time do we spend with our kids? How many, one of the things we're noting is like, we need to start like doing more stuff with our kids. We do a lot of stuff together. We spend a lot of time together, but like more adventures need to happen in our life. And so I think that there's value in that, but it has to work together. Because I've said this before, and I think I might have just said this in the beginning I think I said to James Pete, kids don't care what you know until they know that you care. So if we're just indoctrinating children, of course, that's a terrible idea, right? So it's like, because it has to be a balanced approach of education and learning how to deal with your feelings, learning how to deal with failure, dealing with not being good at stuff, and then like still pushing kids, but from a place of love. It has to be about, if education is only ever about students, then it's about the whole student and not just, whether or not you can regurgitate information on a test or whether or not you do a really great job with a project. Because when we don't deal with people's hurt, when we don't help people to mention their feelings and manage their feelings, then we end up with folks that, find gangs and find solace in those places. Like, look, here's the bottom line. Nobody that ever, I don't think, unless there's something like there's a disconnect, right? Like if you're like a serial killer, like I don't know that there was always an inciting incident, but for most kids that don't act appropriately, that don't do well in school, that don't, and when I say appropriately, I mean that like, you know, they don't know how to like social interaction is something that that's not their strong suit. It's about meeting kids where they are and helping them to be who they want to be. But so often folks are just pushed aside, or we just focus on education, and then, you know, they don't find that care anywhere else. Joseph Campbell talks about this thing like the secondary father, which is like if your dad wasn't there for you, you're always constantly, and I know this as a kid, my dad died when I was 4. You're constantly like looking for that dad energy from somewhere else. If you don't get that, we turn to things like gangs, and we'll take attention from wherever we can get it, and sometimes that's not a place that's particularly healthy for a child. So it's you know, again, it goes back to this idea of there's no silver bullet in education. There's no easy way about any of this. Is every year looking at a child, getting to know them, building relationships, and figuring out what do they need. Do they need help in math? Do they need help with their anger management? Do they need help? Like what is the situation need to be there? And that's kind of how I look at that. Well, if I'm done that question.
You need another one?
Leaving me.
Our daughter wants the computer. She's like, are you almost done? I want to play mine.
All right, we can be done soon.
No, but there's so many great questions.
There are, and there's a lot of people in the waiting room too.
So how many people do you have in the waiting room? Just 2,
5.
I only have 2 people with Zoom. So if you didn't, I don't see. Yeah.
Okay, so this is new. So can I say hi to someone in the
Sure.
waiting room real quick?
Yeah.
Is that cool?
Like,
Can I give a heads up, because I'm just looking in order here,
The
that
only
John
people
Lopez is in there, and then we could.
Oh, I don't have John Lopez on my Google Doc.
John Lopez is going to drop magic
you can drop him
anywhere
in.
I bring it in anyway. I'm just going in the order of who's there
Johnny's?
too, so it's not like not
And I
playing
have
favorites
Miss
here.
James P. Okay, go ahead.
All right, got it. Let's go.
Oh yeah, I'm Minoic.
John Lopez, are you there?
This cracks me up.
Paging John Lopez. John Lopez, please come to the front gate. There he is.
Hello. Hello, everybody.
What's up, buddy?
How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? James Pete, everybody, it was an honor. To all the new teachers out there, hang in there. I know it's tough. I'm there. I'm here. I'm here. I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. How you doing, man?
I'm doing all right. Where it's just very howdy. I'm glad you're okay.
Good. Can you hear me? I don't know if John can hear me.
You're not muted, are you?
I don't think so. John, you can't hear me?
Tech is not a strong suit, he said.
I know. Hold on a second. I'm gonna hit up John. I'm gonna remove him because I don't think he can hear me. Do we have time to go? I don't want to hold everyone up. I know there's like people that are helping us with the chat and stuff like that.
So then go to Minoic.
Okay. Minoic, I hope you're not eating something or blowing your nose.
No, she just texted something. She's
Okay,
in the
dope.
group. She's good.
Because I did that to someone yesterday.
Poor John. He's gonna be like, "Why did you kick that?"
He's gonna be like, "What happened there?" We'll have to hit him up.
I said, "Do it again."
Minoic, can you hear me? Are we on? Maybe,
Okay,
maybe not.
It takes a second.
I know it does. I'm just trying to fill the air.
Oh, okay.
With words, so it's not
Mhm.
awkward. Connecting to audio. Take your time. We're not sweating anything here. You have the moment.
Minoic's all the way from.
Minoic, can you hear me?
Netherlands, right?
I can hear your keyboard.
It's trying.
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yay!
Yes.
Okay, awesome. I
Oh.
don't really see anything on YouTube because it froze, but I guess this is
Lag.
No, there's a lag from YouTube to.
okay.
Yeah. How are you? Where are you from? Can you tell everyone?
I live in the Netherlands. Wait, let me see if I can. This is the first time I've used Zoom. Yo.
There it is.
Hi, I'm from the Netherlands, so excuse my English.
It's all right. Excuse my English half the time. This is exciting. I just sent you a book the other day.
So I actually had a question. Yeah. But I think something went wrong with the payment the second time because I got mail. So yeah, you might want to.
Oh, we'll
might
figure
need
it
to
out.
check that.
Don't even worry about that. It was funny, like I'm in the post office in my little town, and they're like, where is this going? They're like, because the address does not look like it's to the United States. They're like, where is this to? And I'm like, the Netherlands. And they're like, the Netherlands. And I'm like, yeah, dude, just don't question me about my mail. Just send it where I want you to send it. That's great. What's going on? What can we help you with or talk about?
So this is a student that I don't teach anymore, but it just keeps buzzing around in my head. And I'm wondering well, what if I meet another student like this? This is a kid who was extremely enthusiastic about biology, which I teach. And any conversation that you would have in a class or with another student, he would just kind of take it over and just be very enthusiastic and keep talking and keep talking and keep talking. But the other students would find that annoying, would feel that he was, bumming into their conversation. So I'm not really sure how I can help this student or this type of student keep his enthusiasm for biology without him disconnecting from his classmates because they think he talks too much.
Yeah, that's a really great question. So, because you don't want to like ruin the kid. So I think there's a couple of things you can do there. One is have a conversation with them, right? The whole idea behind Real Rap with Reynolds is that I have these conversations with my students that are completely honest. And I say, look, I love your enthusiasm, and like you and I can talk about this and share things, and but we have to create, like, the class is a community, so we have to create space for other people to be able to talk to, and that's just a good life skill, right? If you go out to dinner with people and someone's yammering on the whole night and you're like, bro, can I get a word in edgewise? Like, that is just a good life skill to have, because what you're teaching kids to do is to read the room and to see and to care for people in their silence, right? So sometimes we just hold what we want to say and that's an act of care for others. The other thing is to maybe give that kid jobs. So I find that students that want to talk about stuff all the time also just have a lot of energy. So what can we give them to do where they're maybe collecting things for you, grading things for you, they're helping someone out that needs help, and you're giving them something to do with that energy that they have and that they feel, that can be really beneficial as well. Other than that, it is, one of the things I love about science in particular is that I have, my friend Cho would just sit in her room and have lunch with students. She was the head of our science department. Kids would just come in with questions. They would just say, like, well, what about this? Or I heard, whether it was talking about flat Earth, whether it was talking about DNA, whether it was talking about could the X-Men be real? Like, it was just that kind of curiosity that students would come into and just ask her about. And that gave them a space to do that. So it wasn't just, your 40 or 50 minutes of class or however long you have. It was, no, let's keep having this conversation. And then once that relationship's built like that, you can point back to that while you're in class and say, because a lot of times for me, those students ask like they'll just be like thinking of stuff and they ask things that aren't really a part of what we're doing. And you're building in time for that. Yo, when we have like, chew and chat time later or whatever you're doing, like come hang, like that's a great question for later. Remember, please write that down on something so that we can make sure that we talk about that later. And if anybody else is interested in doing that, we're going to talk about this later. Because of course we have, nerd time after school. I don't know, whatever. I'm sarcastic, so that's why I would say something ridiculous like that. But like, it is time where those conversations can happen, and I do that to students all the time, which is why, I have meetings in the beginning of the day to talk about certain movies or TV shows that we all watch that week. There's stuff that happens after school where we can talk about comic books and video games and TV and stuff. So you're creating space for that student to really flourish, to really come alive, to really talk about some stuff. And that, I think that what you're doing is just giving them a place to channel that energy instead of just taking up all the air in the room while you have class. Does that help at all? I'm not really ever sure.
Yeah. It was really just how do I connect with this person and not say when your classmates find you annoying, because that's just terrible to say.
And look, I mean, real quick, I think when that child sees that you care, right? They're going to be able to take any level of what they might see as criticism differently. So if you show that you really care. You show that you're really putting in this extra time. It gives you a time to be like, you can address those things in class and they're not going to take them to heart. They're not going to feel like beat up by it because they know that like, no, it's like whenever you get tough criticism from someone that really loves you, it's different than if it's just from your principal or someone doesn't like the way you said something in a meeting. You take it differently because you know that there's love behind that. And I think that that's the message we're trying to send to students.
Someone said they use a code. They have Elmo, and Elmo, Amy Russell, Elmo is a code word I use for enough, let's move on.
Oh.
ELMO. Enough, let's move on. Elmo.
Yeah.
I think that's smart.
Yeah. So awesome.
Oh, nice.
Well, look, are you on? Do you guys have? Did you win a break? What's that look like for you right now?
I'm actually still studying to become a teacher, and I don't know how you call it in America, but in the Netherlands it's called stage, where you go to a school and teach for half a year or an entire year, and then just go back to being a student. But I've just finished that last year, so I'm just trying to finish my study.
Awesome. So curious, do they pay you when you're doing that, or do you have to like figure out a way to make money when you're doing that?
Yeah, if you're lucky. I'm not lucky.
Okay.
No one in America is either, because
no
one gets paid.
You essentially work for free for to a year, and it's like, oh gosh,
yeah.
It's a nightmare. So awesome. Well, look, I really appreciate you.
Yeah, so I have another job with yeah.
Yeah. What time is it in the Netherlands?
Yeah, thank you for having me.
What time is it for you right now?
About 8:30 in the evening.
Okay. All right. So not too bad. All right. So really, it's
8:30 in the evening, kind of.
Talking Netherlands. Awesome. Well, look, thank you so much for coming on and for taking the time. I really, really appreciate it, and I hope that your book gets to you soon.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Let's do this question.
Go
I have
ahead.
Max the Moose says, hello, CJ. My question is, do you have any tips for trying to not let the fear of COVID impact on your teaching in the classroom? We have been doing in-person instruction this academic year, and I find it quite tricky not to let overwhelm me, especially with the cases rising again.
What's that?
Faith. That's like the only thing that like faith is like a positive. I'm healthy, I'm well, I'm good.
So I think that's part of it. I think one is talking about it. I think, I mentioned this earlier, and it's, one of my favorite Mr. Rogers lines is that what's mentionable is manageable. When we can talk about things, it takes power away from them. And so that is the power of therapy, right? It's like going and learning how to deal with some of those things also. But like part of it is just saying it out loud. It is the reason I don't really even want to say that. But because I've never been to an AA meeting, but like my sense would be that like if you're in an AA meeting or an NA meeting and you have to say like, my name is so-and-so and I'm an alcoholic, like part of that is like you are kind of bearing your soul a bit and you're taking power away from something because it's not hidden. So talking about that. I think the other thing is understanding things like a bit about germ transmission and how that works. And so I know that like I too get a little bit freaked out. Like even when I have to go out to a store, especially because it's Christmas time, I'm Christmas shopping. It's like we bought N95 masks online. So they're masks that literally like stop any particles from coming through it. It is not touching my face. It is not touching, it's washing my hands often. But I'll tell you what, like the last time I got sick in my life was over 11 years ago. It was right after my daughter was born. I got really, really ill. But then I was talking to a nurse friend and she's like, you know how to not get sick? She said, don't stop touching your face and your eyes with unwashed hands. And I just don't do it anymore. Like when I'm sitting there thinking, I'm not like going like this, I'm not just rubbing my eye. Like sometimes you do because you get stuff in your eyes. But it is learning that like, this isn't something I have to be afraid of. And that because I'm young and healthy, and unless if you don't have other pre-existing conditions, like you're like, that's a big thing. And then trying to follow some of the literature. I know that's very daunting to do so, but one of the things I was reading recently was they said a lot of folks that are really struggling with COVID have a vitamin D deficiency and have weak gut biomes. So like your gut health is not strong enough And that has an effect. And you don't need to go into all the science of that, but like, it's about educating yourself enough to know what's going on with that, and then just doing your best. And if you really don't want to be there, I think it's about having the conversation with your school to see if you can go virtual. And I know some people can do that and some people can't. I know some people that are very close to me that like have pre-existing conditions. They're still in the classroom. It doesn't, no one seems to care. But I think
it's being smart. Like you said, if you can literally, it is the thing that has impressed me with you, that you come home from school and you immediately wash your hands. Like when our kids were little, you never like
picked them up. You
went straight to the bathroom and washed your hand.
And mostly changed my clothes. Like as soon as
I think really just being smart with those basic things can really save you a lot. Like when you understand germ transmission, it's like, just don't touch your face.
Yeah.
It's hard.
As I'm sitting
terrible
here,
at it.
Here stroking my chin. But I'm in my house.
Okay, so I don't know what to do. You have a lot of questions.
Okay. What should we do next?
That's up to you. How long do you want to go?
We've been on for an hour and a half, so I don't want to hold Edie and everyone else.
Yeah.
Let's do 2 more. We'll do 1 live. And if you look, the only way this can work is like, I really can't get to everyone. I really, really want to. This is what you need to know. I really want to a lot. I really care about this community. I really love doing this stuff. It's really, really fun. So let's just pick one more random person to talk to, and then we'll do 1 more question on there. Does that work? And then here's what else I'm gonna ask too. Email, message, something on Instagram, like direct message on Instagram, message on Facebook. What did you feel worked? What didn't work? Was this confusing? Any kind of feedback that you can give us on the live feed this week would be really appreciated, because then we would know.
Elena doesn't care for this setup.
No. All right. So that's what I'm looking for.
It's good. Are
you talking about Edie?
No, I said Elon.
I know, but that's Edie's first name.
Oh no.
Right. Okay. So yeah, I want to know that, so we can, because this is about you and not about me, and so I want to be able to figure out the best way we can do it.
Okay. Dominic is asking, I'm being asked to totally reimagine a curriculum from a previous teacher I'm replacing. An elective class, there is a desire from admin to take the class a totally different direction, and I am very overwhelmed. Any tips for building a curriculum from scratch?
Dominic. Elective classes. So, Dominic, I think the couple of things that you can think about that make this the best is, one, to just sit back without thinking about the school, the administration, the students, the class size, what you have to do, all of your obligations, and just think 2 things. One, what if this was easy? What would it look like? Right? So like just allowing yourself to imagine. And I think taking time for imagination, taking time for dreaming is not something we think about or talk about enough in education. What that allows you to do is just go beyond the issues, the problems, and rethink the whole thing. What would this look like if it were easy? How would it look like? And literally sitting with that and envisioning it. What would it look like when I walked into the classroom? What would the assignments look like? What would the students' interactions be with me? What would the student responses be? And kind of playing with that. And then what would this look like if it were fun? And so sometimes when you do that, what happens to me is I start going down these rabbit holes where I start imagining and dreaming and thinking of things where it's like, oh, no, I can actually do that. So I think one of the best things with electives is there's 2 things. One, how can I tie whatever it is that we're learning in an elective? Because electives, in my experience anyway, are things that students take far less serious than a regular class, because they don't think that has any impact on their grades, even though that's wrong. It totally impacts their grade point average. But it is looking at those things and thinking, how can I connect this to someone's their real life? How can I 3 things rather? How can I connect this to someone's life? How can I make this, engaging in a way that so how can I connect this to what they're already interested in? And the third thing, which is the best one, is who in the world knows about this, does this, has benefited from this, and I could bring in as a guest. The beauty of being in virtual is, can you have someone jump into your Zoom call when you're in school? Can you have someone come visit your class? Can you have someone, whether it's virtually visit your class live, or maybe you do a little interview with them and then you show it to the class? but how are you bringing this in so it actually comes alive? So if you have, you know, an architecture class, can you get someone that's an architecture student? Can you get someone that was an architect on something cool from your neighborhood or from the world that comes in and talks to your students about how this is important and how math played a part and all this stuff? Can, you know, because I can't do graffiti, I just have graffiti artists come to my class, or we go to them. Because I don't know how to DJ, I bring those folks in. Because like when I had students that were interested in comic books and we were studying comic books and graphic novels in class, I can't draw, but I know a guy, and he came in and he talked to the kids and he showed them how to do stuff and how you can share your life and your story and all this cool stuff and how to market it. It was awesome. So it is about this. Teaching is a communal activity, meaning that that's not just teachers. It's not just students. It is looking to your community. It's like the Sesame Street. These are the people in your neighborhood. How can you bring those folks in? And I think you'll be very surprised as to how many people will be willing to do that because they want to care, they want to connect, they want to do something with children, or to have an impact on the community. And some people don't have that. You know, they don't feel like they have that opportunity otherwise. You are giving them an opportunity to be a change agent in the life of a child. And I think that that's how I would kind of dream that away. So the next person in here is Scott Ordway, which we've seen on there a lot. Scott Ordway usually has the first question every week.
Wait, are they in order like the people that have been reading? Like how does it go when someone else pops in? Do they go at the bottom?
Yeah, but I know, but okay. Do you want me to do?
Yeah, go for
Okay,
it.
all right, so we'll
I was
just
gonna tell you pick.
all right. So what do you want to do?
Just do it.
All
Yes.
right, so I'll just go in order.
No,
So
not all of them, just
all right,
one we said.
okay. So Scott Ordway, you're up next.
Confusing.
Here we go. Let's see if this works. That's one of the things we'll have to pivot and figure out and learn how to do.
Well, people put their
Scott, how are you, man?
Good. How are you?
I'm awesome. Where are you from?
Outside Sacramento.
All right. Are you outside right now? Is that what I'm looking at?
No, this is a picture I took at the lake near my house.
Fantastic, man. It's funny to see, like, I just know you as a baseball profile picture on YouTube.
Yeah.
So yeah. Well, look, usually you have the first question every week. Now you have the last question. What do you think?
I'm sorry. I was in the middle of my run. I'm running for the whole year, and I was on my run, so I apologize.
How's that going?
That's good. I mean, I'll be done in December 31st. So
that's awesome. My buddy Colby Sharp, who I follow, who's a friend of mine on YouTube, just did his 500th day in a row. And so he started after I did, and he was like, yo, I'm going to do the same thing. And then I've been slowly watching his growth. And then on day 500, he ran, and I was like, bro, you just crushed my record. But still, that's awesome, man. So congratulations to you for that.
Thank you. Thanks.
So what's going on?
Well, first I have to show you this. My wife just got this for me. We celebrated our 10th anniversary, and she said she'd rather have nobody else annoy her more than me. So this is something you could really use in the classroom. Watch. Hold on. I know it's glitchy. Hang on.
I'm already loving this.
Okay. Let me turn this up. Hold on. Here we go. You could totally set the mood with this.
Wait, it's making beats.
And there's other settings. So.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Wait,
we need to know
Scott,
where did your wife get
where
this?
did she get that from?
It's RBA by I sound like a student in the classroom. I don't know how to pronounce it. Artiphone.
You got it. Can you send me an email? I need to know where to purchase this.
Yeah, I will. Yeah,
there we go. RBA, Artiphone.
It's $100, so it was for our anniversary though. So, and you know it's good because our 5-year-old, she was playing with it, and I'm like, bro, are you done? Because like I want to turn. I didn't say that out loud. I thought it.
Honey, she took my toy again. I don't know what to do. That thing looks awesome. And I love using music in the classroom and using ridiculousness in the classroom too. So perfect. Awesome, man. What's going on?
So my question was about professional development topics, because I think a lot of us have either gone to professional development seminars because we either had to, or I want the units for it so I can get more pay or whatever. So I'm trying to find some topics that are not even necessarily content specific, but are maybe even, I mean, it could be content specific, but just across the board, just for some inspiration, because I think there's a balance between, well, this is my 8th year. So there's a balance between being confident in the abilities that you've kind of gained, but then also looking for ways to not only stay within that confidence level and expand.
Yeah. So you're looking for, so what do you, remind me what you teach again?
7th grade social studies.
Okay. So I think, oh, you looked it up?
No, someone put the link in the
Oh,
chat.
someone put the link for
Thank
that in the chat, and now it's in front of us. We need to reach out. We need to do a brand deal with that company.
Yes.
It's there's an avenue that I didn't think why teachers would use that product.
Right.
So, one of the things I just, there's wish list things that I have that I wish we had more professional development on, like how to really like differentiated instruction, right? Like, how do you actually differentiate instruction? What does that look like? Because I don't think we talk about that enough. I think anything around special education, because there's so many kids that are just like undocumented that have a little bit of dyslexia. There's a bit of dysgraphia. There's a little bit of dyscalculia, but they're not full on, that maybe they're on the spectrum, but they're not enough that they're going to get all the services and stuff that they would need. So it's about figuring out ways to reach every single student. And then, one of the things I've really been thinking about a lot is, and I spoke this a little bit earlier, is like, how do I become better at what I'm already doing? So instead of one of my favorite Mr. Rogers quotes is that simple and deep is better than wide and complex. So really looking at what I'm doing and how do I go deeper with this? How do I get better at the things I already do than just, it's like, I really like tools. So I get into these modes sometimes where I just want to buy new tools, and it's like, bro, I don't really I could probably do that with the stuff that I already have. Now I just have 97 options for one thing. And, so it's getting better at some of that stuff too. Like me getting better at being confident, at talking to kids, at communicating, at conveying directions, at making myself understood, instead of bringing just more new stuff in is what I really wish happened, because I just think professional development sucks so much all the time. Like I leave constantly. This is me, and my friends laugh at me. Within 30 to 60 seconds of a professional development meeting, if they see me pick up my phone and I start faking phone calls, and then I pretend I have to go do a phone call, and then I just don't come back to professional development. And that's not really even for my staff. I just don't want the person on stage to feel bad, but it's like, I don't want to listen to this. It's like, I don't think it's applicable, or you never taught before. And so I don't want to, I just discounted your whole profession because you didn't teach before. So, does that speak to that a little bit, or I'm not sure if I'm missing the mark there?
No, you are. Yeah, it is. I think it's just finding those opportunities about, well, like you said, about communication, because I remember somebody taught me way back in the day, don't ask, okay, do you need more time? No, I'm good. No, raise your hand if you're not done. That way, it's just like shifting the way that you frame questions, even like the communication piece. It's things that we don't even think about until somebody points it out to us. And I'm sure there's tons of professional development things out there that it's not even just about teaching, but it's about communication, like you said. So yeah, that totally answers it.
I feel like would be a really great thing to do. This is actually something I feel like putting on Instagram too, but in the Facebook group, asking what's the most meaningful professional development that you've ever been to, and then seeing what folks say. So last year I got to go see, and I already mentioned this dude once, but Dave Burgess gave a talk. We were at the Teach Better conference in, I don't know, middle of nowhere. And Dave Burgess comes out and does this talk. And so first of all, my guy, he's 54 years old, just the other day turned 54. He dresses like a pirate. So I can just imagine, if I didn't know him and he walked into my professional development, I'm immediately discounting anything this man says. You're a grown man dressed like a pirate. I don't even know if I could listen to you. His talk was hands down the best talk I ever heard. Where you walk away and you have 97 new ideas on what you can do, on how you can do it, on how you're going to flip and change everything in your classroom. Nothing's going to be the same again, to a point where and he talks so fast that you can't even write all the stuff down. But it was so wild to me, because it was he didn't go the traditional route of PD. Like it was like watching a show and then getting excited about it. And part of what I liked was it has more to do with personal development than professional development, because when we can become more comfortable in our own shoes, more comfortable dealing with the people that we're dealing with, I think that you just become a better teacher. Like the more confident I've become in my abilities over the years is the reason I can just walk into any room and I know I get any classroom to be quiet. Like I don't care what your situation is, because I just have done it enough times. And there's 19 other things I'm like really, really poor at, but getting kids to be quiet is something that I am good at. And so, but that had to come from a level of confidence, a level of knowing how to communicate with kids, who to raise my voice with, who not to raise my voice with, where to stand, how to look at someone, but not look at them in a way that's going to be like, where I'm having a power struggle. Like it's all these kind of nuanced things, but that was 100% profession or like personal development over professional development, that helped me to kind of handle some of that stuff. So yeah. Look, are you on break yet, man?
Yeah. We're on break. We're hanging out.
Good for you, man. I have 2 more days and we're doing cereal day and tests. So, I figure if I could just sprinkle some Frosted Flakes on the testing day, then it just makes it not suck as much as it would normally. But cool. Well, look, man, I appreciate you popping on. It was nice to actually like meet you, talk to you, and do this. It was fun.
Thank you.
Have a great break.
Yeah. Thanks.
All right, brother. I'll talk to you soon.
See ya.
All right, everybody. So here's the gig. This is what I need from you is feedback on this. I realize that like this is not everyone's cup of tea. I realize we're not getting through as many questions, but I just think the value is there. I want to know either way. This isn't, again, Real Rap with Reynolds is not about me. It's about the community of educators trying to help one another to be the teachers that they are called to be. And we want to do that in the best way that we can. So if you could drop me a line, whether it's on Facebook, whether it's in in a message, in an email, let me know your thoughts, your feelings, how this went for you, so that we can keep doing the best job that we can do to create those pathways and pipelines for educators. And that's it. If anybody needs anything else, like if this is not enough for you, know that our Facebook group is available, Real Rap with Reynolds Teacher Talk on Facebook. The book is available. Teach Your Class Off. You can get on Amazon, Target, anywhere that books are sold. And it's actually on sale on Amazon right now. It's only $17 right now on Amazon. And then there's also mentoring. And if you know someone that needs it, you can sign. I've had people signing others up for mentoring that they didn't do it themselves, but they just knew someone in their life, or they asked for it for Christmas or something like that. And that's how you do it. You can get all the information for that at realrapwithreynolds.com. And that's it, everybody. I hope you have a great evening. And if you're on break, a wonderful break. That's it. Peace. I really don't know how to end it.